Ever since Avengers Endgame debuted more than 3 years ago, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, or MCU, has struggled to regain its footing. The reason is simple. Endgame felt like the perfect bookend to a decade's worth of storytelling. It would make sense to lay out plans for a new decade of storytelling, however, the geniuses at Disney have decided against any sort of plan or strategy, and we, the audience, have been left to pick up the scraps that they throw at us. The few movies that have come out since Endgame are doing very little to set up another team-up movie, let alone another Endgame-level event. Disney would like to have you believe that their stumbles since Endgame have something to do with some unspecified virus of unknown origin, but Sony's Spider-Man No Way Home blew that theory out of the water by providing a grounded, well-developed, well-executed story free of any agendas. This brings us to Disney's fourth try. And I wish I could say that the fourth time was the charm, but sadly, I'd be lying to you, dear viewer. The film doesn't live up to its own title. If by madness they mean a jumbled mess, then maybe I guess it does. The film feels disjointed, inconsistent, without substance or heart. I felt like the editing was a confusing clutter, getting lost in its own narrative. If it was obvious that much of the film was reshot because of the shifting tones between Sam Raimi and the Disney machine, and ultimately Sam Raimi lost out. But how could he ever win when Marvel never hired Raimi? They just cast him. He was beholden to their every whim and wish in their formulaic approach to making products. Filmmaking. And this was a shame because you can see the Raimi portions of the movie get lost amid the Disney tropes. This mess seeps into other parts of the production. It seems to me that Marvel movies are getting increasingly sloppier with each iteration. The special effects are looking more like they would on a TV show rather than a big-budget film. For example, the makeup on one of the Strange variants looks so cheaply made that you could actually see it caking off, immediately taking you out of the immersion and back to reality, not the madness it had promised. Aside from the editing, the story is a bait and switch. You think you're getting a Doctor Strange movie, but you're really getting a product placement for the next Marvel product. And this is not the approach great filmmakers of the past took to make timeless classics. The film begins with a Doctor Strange variant in another universe trying to save America Chavez, a multiverse traveler with a penchant for eating large quantities of food and complaining when it's not free. That's a great character right there. She manages to escape, but ends up getting that Doctor Strange killed. She teleports into the MCU, but brings the monster with her. Our Doctor Strange shows up to save the day, but is upstaged by Wong. Because despite saving the universe from Thanos, Doctor Strange still can't be the Sorcerer Supreme because of someone's petty, childish agenda. But I digress. Despite his years of training and extensive experience, Doctor Strange is perplexed as to how to save America Chavez. So what does he do? He goes directly to ask the villain for advice. In The Scarlet Witch, we get even more poor writing and character development. Here we see her upset over losing her fake children, which she conjured up in her attempt to get over the loss of her robot boyfriend, the Vision. So she's trying to go to a universe where they do exist. Never mind who or what else her wishes and desires affect. This is a perfect example of modern writing today. Characters such as Wanda are self-centered narcissists. Everything is about them, and they should receive anything they wish for without having to work for it, or worse yet, steal it from others. The entire second act of the movie is largely forgettable, save for some cameos, and even those were lackluster. They were so underwhelming and ultimately did little to sow excitement among either the hardcore fans or the normies. All the rumors you heard were all false. There's no Deadpool, no Tom Cruise's Iron Man, and how are you going to introduce one of the coolest and smartest characters in Marvel history, Mr. Fantastic, only to kill him off 2 minutes later? Although a recasting of a certain universally despised actress was pretty funny to me. Does anyone even like Brie Larson at this point? The movie ends with Wanda relinquishing the Darkhold and giving up her psychotic quest to save her fake children. The resolution felt very anticlimactic. Maybe now she'll use her dwindling common sense and go have real kids of her own with a human male? I guess that all depends how her contract negotiations go. Now, don't get me wrong, Elizabeth Olsen is a capable actress who did the best she could with the garbage script that she was given. It's a shame Disney went down this rabbit hole because I was actually very excited to dive deeper into her family history, namely her father, Magneto, once they introduced mutants and the X-Men into the MCU. Another part of Marvel movies that I always enjoyed was their use of lighthearted humor to break up the tension and to bring levity to serious situations. However, the humor here doesn't work and simply falls flat. Look, I get it. America Chavez likes to eat a lot. That's what body positivity attempts to excuse. But this joke was attempted several times throughout the movie and it just fell flat each time. The writers just couldn't come up with much to make the character relatable or charming. So Chittle Gomez tried her best, but she lacks the confidence and charm for a big-budget film. It would do her a lot of good to stick to the small screen for a little while and gain some experience acting before trying a big movie again. Unfortunately, she's not Jodie Foster. And this is a disappointing miss because there are plenty of other young actresses with the acting chops to deliver a humorous and charming America Chavez. Another reason that this movie felt very disjointed was that throughout most of the story, Doctor Strange ends up playing second fiddle to Wanda, America Chavez, and Wong. I thought this was supposed to be a Doctor Strange movie, not an ensemble flick where the producers fling a bunch of random characters together and hope for the best. It's like Marvel has taken to hating and destroying all the franchises that made them bucket loads of money. And as a Disney stockholder, I've seen my shareholder value erode for the better part of 2 years now. It's time to start voting these jokers out of this company before they destroy the whole thing with their poor planning, writing, and misguided agenda. Ultimately, the biggest problem with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was that it had to be a sequel to not only Doctor Strange, but also WandaVision and a follow-up to Spider-Man No Way Home. It was burdened by having to tie up loose ends from all those venues. Not only that, but Disney makes the erroneous assumption that casual viewers have seen all of the previous material. Disney doesn't release full viewership and subscription data for Disney Plus, but we can safely assume that not everyone has a subscription and may not have seen WandaVision. This ends up plaguing the script and pacing of the movie. Disney's casting of its directors is very evident here, as it was neither a full Sam Raimi nor a full Disney experience, and you wound up with a jumbled mess. It just feels like the product before the next product, rather than a good picture. This multiverse feels less mad than it does studio mandated. Is it worth the price of admission? Sadly, I'd give this one a pass unless it's on TV randomly. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe for more great content.